Hi, I'm Lindy Earl, and I'm here with my friend Kenneth Stepp to talk today about fear of dating. I have been divorced for almost 5 years, Kenneth,
Uh, just a little over 5 years.
and you were married for 24 years, and I was married for 25 years. So we're in similar places on our journey, and we're making these videos to kind of help others in their walk. We know there are a lot of similarities, there are some differences, but as we learn and see what others are going through, personally, I love it when I hear other people's stories to know that I'm not alone. We're all in this together. So you might already know I have been a college professor, I've been vice president of marketing, I've been an entrepreneur, I've had my own business. Right now, Kenneth and I are both columnists for
Georgia News Daily.
And you can read our columns on relationships at
GeorgiaNewsDaily.com.
There you go. So today we're talking about fear of dating. Kenneth, did you ever experience fear of dating after?
After divorce, no. But after I met my first girl and fell so hard, and the breakup was so hard on me that I didn't want to date again.
Mm-hmm.
I did, but it was casually. I wasn't going for a relationship.
And that's a really important distinction. There is a difference between I want to date around, I want a relationship. I think we're all looking for relationships in this world eventually. But when you're first back to dating and you still have a fear, or I guess a gentle way to say it would be a healthy respect for dating, you may not be there at the relationship point yet. And that's good. Embrace where you are. Different reasons for not dating. I think the first is that you just come out of your relationship, especially a divorce, totally battered and bruised. You're emotionally hurt, you're insecure. It's rough. Experiences like that?
Oh, for me, it was, I came out of a very dead and dry relationship where there was no intimacy and no touch, none of that. And then I met this girl, and she wanted to be with me. We were like magic, and I just soaked it up. It was intoxicating for me.
Intoxicating is a good,
Yes.
Because it's a great high, it's a great excitement.
Mm-hmm.
But those moments are not necessarily real either. So you have to be careful. Are you more excited about just somebody liking you again? And that is one of the benefits of dating, and why you need to get past your fear of dating is when I finally started dating after 3 years of divorce, it was wonderful to hear that men wanted to spend time with me. They found me attractive. They were willing to tell me I was attractive. And it's something that we all need to hear. We need to be told, you're gorgeous, you're intelligent, you're fun to be with, you're funny, you're enjoyable. We need to hear this. We need the positive affirmations. Do you have a favorite affirmation? What do you like to hear?
More than anything, I like to hear that someone recognizes that I'm kind, that I'm always a gentleman. And everyone has a trait that is their favorite, and that is mine.
That's a really interesting question. We can add that question to our Singles Again group on Facebook. We do have a group on Facebook. It is a support group for singles. It is not a meetup group or a dating group. And since this is fear of dating, asking people what is the favorite trait. We've had similar questions. What do you like most about yourself, kind of things. But I would concur that kindness is definitely at the top of your list. You do always look out for others' self-interest, or for others' interest instead of yourself. But still, the reasons that people are not dating beyond the immediacy of, I've just been battered and bruised and I'm not doing this again. One of the ones that surprised me is when men didn't want to date because I had children. And by the time I started dating, my children were adults. And I still had men say, oh, no, I don't date women with children ever. They had chosen to not have children. And at the same time, the other idea of that is the people with children who are trying to protect their kids. Have you seen that too?
I've seen both. I know on my journey, the one thing that was on my list, I never told anyone it was on my list, but the one thing that was on my list was that if I met a girl and she had never had kids, I would not let myself go there. I wanted someone that had experienced unconditional love.
There you go.
And a mother has.
And a mother has.
And someone who's not had a child may have never experienced that.
That's a good point. Good point. And I think this idea of protecting children, well, I don't want to parade a lot of people through the house, which I agree with. I don't want my children getting attached to someone if I'm not going to stay with them, especially with young children. I think it's an excellent point. It doesn't mean you can't date. And are you using that as an excuse to not date? You can stop for a drink after work. The babysitter, you just tell her that you're going to be an hour later. I think day dates are a blast. Go out.
I do too.
Isn't it great?
Yes.
You like lunch out.
I do.
And you have good experiences with lunch out.
So many. So many.
There's a lot less pressure. There's no question of the goodnight kiss, and there's less intimacy in the daytime, in bright sunlight.
And there's a less fear.
That's
now, I don't experience that. I'm a full-grown man.
A large size.
But women do. I mean, the women should be afraid. They should always be, aware of what can happen. You
should always be aware. If you're going in already afraid, you should probably not have gone on the date. But you can set up something close to work. It can be, a nice, enjoyable break in the middle of your day. You're important. You're allowed to start dating. So I think one of the reasons people have a hard time getting back to dating after we say divorce, it could just be a relationship breakup. Some of you were divorced 20 years ago and are just coming out of maybe a 5-year relationship. This still counts. Dating is not like riding a bike.
No.
You can't just get back on and start pedaling.
I would risk myself on a bike much quicker.
And for you, it might be a risk. Those bikes are pretty small.
That's true.
But
the bears do ride them at the circus, so I could do that.
Proof that they can handle you. No question. That was funny. Okay. One of the challenges I found is that men were not where we left them. I mean, it's just things have changed. When I was a student, I knew where to find the guys, and we were all single, which made it easier. Now there's something called online dating. You can read other columns, and I mean, I had some hilarious stories about the mistakes I made with online dating. It's a whole different vernacular. Some people just are never going to be committed again. And they would do the world.
That's so true.
They would do the world a favor if they would take themselves out of the dating pool.
What I've found is there are people who, there are men who are only looking for an encounter. And there are also women. And I wish those people would just find one another and leave us alone.
Wouldn't that be great? You guys go.
Would be great.
If we could have something on our foreheads that read serious relationships only.
.com.
And of course, every online place claims that.
Right.
But even in our Singles Again group, we have to be very careful to keep scammers out. And so we're looking for, a good person who's as good as us, who wants to be in a committed relationship. But there are fears. There are fears of dating. Intimacy.
Oof. It's a big one.
That's a big one. I mean, is he going to hold my hand? I feel like I'm 16 years old again. I remember the first time a gentleman held my hand. I was on the Marietta Square, and we had a lovely chat, and we decided to go for a walk. And he grabbed my hand, and I mean, he did it. And I dropped his so quickly. I was like, I can't hold somebody's hand. And I thought, well, why not? Why can't I? I mean, I'd been divorced for 3 years. And so I held it again, and he didn't notice that I had dropped it the first time, but even hand holding was suddenly a huge issue. And then, this particular gentleman, he was awesome, because when he walked me to my car, he said, give me a hug so I can send you home.
a gentleman.
He was quite the gentleman, and I just thought he handled it so well because this was, early. I'd been doing these meet and greets for about 2 months when I met this guy, and for him to so clearly say, "Give me a hug." So again, it goes back to what you and I have discussed before. Directness and communication really helps.
Right.
But it took away any fear, any questions, any concerns about, is he going to kiss me? I mean, it sounds like a silly high school thing. And it goes on from that.
Doesn't it feel like high school sometimes?
Oh my gosh. And if somebody knows a better term than boyfriend and girlfriend, please tell me.
Yeah.
I don't like that term because it is so juvenile, but I have yet to find a better term for it. So significant other, a little bit awkward and long.
Yeah.
Bae is way too childish and young because that's what the 14-year-olds use now. And I don't even know if it's in vogue at the moment.
One thing I tend to say sometimes, that's my lady.
That's sweet.
Mm-hmm.
That's sweet. You can refer to her as your lady. Okay, but other reasons, going back to the intimacy issue, is we have that big concern about what happens if it does get physical. And that's not a reason to avoid dating for the rest of your life. It's kind of a silly fear. Don't you think both people?
Let me just say that's not like riding a bike again either.
Okay.
So it's going to be different. It may be exciting, but there's some awkwardness, and there's going to be questions. There has to be.
You probably won't fall off either.
No. Well, you never know.
So moving right along, intimacy, just because someone's going to see you and you're all together doesn't mean they're going to run screaming from the room. Okay. You are much more aware of your imperfections. You're much more aware of any crow's feet or they're not there because they want to put you down, and they're not looking for the problems in you. They're not, they don't want to see that. They're looking forward to a good relationship. And that's part of it, is the intimacy. People are afraid of being hurt again.
Yes, they are. And, that's where kindness comes in. If we were all I end so many of my articles with just be nice.
Just be nice.
It would change the entire arena. If everyone just understood we're all on the same journey. Be nice to one another.
I can think of so many relationships, both good and bad. And you made a point earlier that at this point in our lives, and we're both we're not teenagers anymore.
We're not.
100% of our relationships have ended.
Yes, 100%.
100%. Neither of us are dating at the moment. And here we are, and we understand the fears of dating. One of the fears is the fear of the unknown.
What's funny is the fear of the unknown exists in every area of our lives. Business, death, living,
children,
everything.
Finances.
Yeah, the fear of the unknown.
House buying. I think
and they're unrealistic fears most of the time.
Well, and 90% of fears never come to pass.
At least.
So there's no reason for them. But it's kind of funny. My longest relationships and some of my most expensive have been with my house and my car. So.
Oh my. My car, I can have 14 plus years with mine. So.
Your car, yes, you definitely.
I love my truck.
But to the point of the fear of the unknown, when I bought the house a decade ago, I did not know that we were going to have to rearrange the kitchen. I didn't know my plumbing in my bathroom was going to fall apart. Right. I didn't know how bad the carpet was going to look after we moved in. So it's been a process. Owning a home has been a process. Well, a relationship,
same process,
is a process.
Different dynamics.
And you might have had a fear of buying your home or moving into your last place. It didn't keep you from doing it. And so now, if you have a fear of dating, what do you think?
It's a natural fear. The people you're talking to out there, they have the same fear. The fear of rejection, the fear of what's intimacy going to be like, the fear of loving someone and them not loving you back. The fear comes in all directions, and it's natural, I think. But we still search in this big sea. We were searching for that gem in a sea of stones, and it's so thought provoking is a weak
Okay, but I think
term.
The point is, yes, there are fears. Yes, there are dangers. Yes, there are challenges, but it's worth it.
Absolutely.
I had to be pushed into the dating pool. Okay. My best friend put me online and said, hey, guess what? So I really came into this world kind of kicking and screaming, but it's been a really healthy thing for me. I have grown. I have matured. I like who I am more. I'm getting positive feedback, which is really
Very
necessary,
nice.
as we said. So fear exists, but if you think about it from this point, because you've been through this, I've been through this, you've been through the devastation of a relationship.
Yes.
And our single group motto is from devastation to dating. Okay. You have been through a lot and you handled it. You persevered. And if you're watching this, it means that you're succeeding. Doesn't mean there won't be some backsliding. It doesn't mean you won't have a bad day, a bad date. Okay. We have hilarious stories on bad days. We'll be discussing that.
There'll be another podcast.
That's another one. But there's nothing you can't handle. And I really do believe, for all the negative as well as the positive, it's worth the ride.
It is.
Kenneth, thank you for being here. This was a really, really fun discussion. I know it's, fear of dating is nothing enjoyable, but you were great.
Thank you for including me.
It was great having you. Thank you. And I'm Lindy Earle, and that's Dating After Divorce.